Sills! Just had an interesting conversation with my guy, Tone, about the Tampa Bay Rays and how they don't sell out. How can you have a baseball team that's constantly winning 90-plus games every year, competing against the Yankees and the Red Sox, and the only people that go to games are people that are in the old folks' home or strippers? That's it. It's the worst fan base in American sports. By far, the worst. They don't care, and they're good. It's a great organization. Did you hear that thing last night? Phillies and Marlins? Did you hear it? It was like a Commanders-Cowboys game. The energy in the building, that's what fall baseball is. When you go to a Rays game in Tampa St. Pete at the Fruit Dome, it's like going to visit someone at an old folks' home. Applesauce, air. I can't eat chicken because I don't have my dentures in yet. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the worst fan base on the planet. I covered that team for over a decade, and it's a great organization. Andrew Silverman does a super job since they took over from Vince Zamoli when they were the Devil Rays. That just shows you, man, what a great fan base can do, an organization. Like, get this, you don't really think the Phillies are a better organization than the Rays on a consistent basis. They're not. Okay? They're not. And why is that? Well, because they were built under the John Scherholz theory of pitching. You could lose arms all the time there in Tampa. You don't have arms. Hey, what's going to be the downfall of the Phillies in the playoffs? Pitching. It always is. It always is. It'll be pitching. They go after the bats, and Atlanta goes after the arms. That's why Atlanta doesn't need superstar position players. They don't believe in them. They got a philosophy like Howie Roseman. Okay? Well, you tell me, Senor goes hating on the Phillies too? Will you tell me if you have the pitching that it takes to win a World Series? And last night was great. You think you get that on a consistent basis throughout the playoffs? Absolutely not. And you know why? You haven't had good starting pitching since Charlie Manuel. Am I wrong? It's not hating. It's what it's been. Your minor league system's terrible. Terrible. You're going to go far, but then you're going to run into a team like Atlanta, and they're going to mow you down. And the guy who runs the Dodgers, Andrew Friedman, he learned all his trade as the general manager of the Rays. That guy has an open checkbook, but acts like he still works for the Rays. That's why they didn't sign Machado. And they went after Mookie Betts. Baseball is the toughest professional championship to win. You can have the greatest players on the planet on your team and go nowhere. Like, if you have LeBron James on your team or Patrick Mahomes, you're in every ball game. I'm going to talk about that here with Jalen Hurts here in a minute. But in baseball, Nolan Arenado, Machado, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout. What are them guys won? Those are some of the greatest players in baseball today. What have they won? Absolutely nothing. Admiration and money. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Real. Atlanta's pitching's not good. How does Atlanta then, with a payroll that they have, consistently dominate the National League East? Look at the Rays. The Rays have a $68 million payroll. What's the payroll in Philly? Tone, what's the payroll in Philly? Yeah, Aaron Judge is sitting at home too. What's the payroll with the Phillies? I know the Rays are at $68 million. How you doing? $68 million. Yeah. And they beat teams like, they finished better than teams like the Yankees and the Mets, who combined spent over $700 million in payroll. Okay? Right? The Phillies' active payroll is $218, and the Rays is $68 million. So let me get this right. The left side of the Phillies infield is what the equivalent of the entire payroll for the Rays is. Solid. Money well spent, Dave Dombrowski. Hey, man. Look at Kansas City. They won the World Series. Can you name a guy off that team? Can you name a guy off that Royals team that won the World Series a couple of years ago? James Shields? Race season's over in about 3 hours. Okay? At least I got a chance to see them in the postseason again. If you include the minors, the Phillies' active payrolls, $256.3. Shit, man, you better do something with that. $250 million. Eric Hosmer, that's right, he was on that. Eric Hosmer, household name. Speaking of being in it, I got to say this, and you know what? I think I have come up with a new definition for the word elite. When it comes to elite quarterbacks, and you tell me if this is what every organization, how many times do you go into a game and go, man, they don't have a chance to win that game? They have no chance to win that game. Like you go into a Jets game. Aren't you doing this? Well, what Zach Wilson are we going to see today? Or you go into a Minnesota game and you go, shit, what am I going to get out of Cousins? Pickett, right? Buccaneers. Is that really Baker Mayfield, or is Baker Mayfield getting ready for Halloween and actually dressing up as a real quarterback? Dak Prescott. Agreed. Dak. Don't you agree that the word elite might be defined better in pro football today with this? Doesn't Jalen Hurts give you a fighting chance in every single game that he plays in? He may not be playing the greatest ball, but doesn't he give you a chance to win every game? If you have that guy as your starting quarterback, isn't that all you're looking for in your starting quarterback? Is that you go into a game going, well, he ain't going to be the reason we lose. He's going to be the reason that people think we can win. People go like this, obviously. Right, okay. Obviously. That you don't define guys like this. I've never heard anyone go, well, I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts gives you a puncher's chance. Not every team in the NFL does give you an opportunity. Holy cow. This guy must be an asshole to have dinner with. Obviously, that's chicken soup. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Hey, that's pumpkin bread. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Is that what you're saying? See, when I first started and covered Jalen, I never thought he gave them a great opportunity to win. Now, you go into it. He's morphed into this guy where you go like this now. This guy might give you an opportunity to win every single ball game that you're in. He gives you a chance. Josh Allen gives you a chance to win every game. Patrick, how many guys in the league are like that? Mahomes, Burrow, not playing well. So again, get it? Allen, you think Russell Wilson gives you a chance to win every game? I don't think so. Deshaun Watson, sure. Lamar, yep. Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. Interesting. Interesting dynamic. Interesting dynamic. Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. What do you got? Who would you take in that matchup? Hurts or Stafford? No one Stafford. He's already won a Super Bowl. You guys, you call it the consolation prize. Here's your I participated silver medal, as you guys call it. Here. At least he was on the podium. You take Hurts. Okay? I can't. Hey, that's the beauty of this. Would I take Hurts over Stafford? I don't know. Jalen Hurts. We're going to get to it right now. You think Hurts is playing better than Matthew Stafford right now? What would be your evaluation in the first month of the season of Jalen? I think Zach Wilson's going to throw 300 yards on us. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. How do you think Jalen's played in the first month of the season? Anybody? I don't give a shit about last year. How do you think he's played? If you had to evaluate him in the first month of the season, a B, you're out of your mind. Solid B. Oh my God. First month for Jalen has been underwhelming. He has to build off of Washington's performance. He's played a half of football, really, if you think about it. Average at best. Tell you what, how do you think Joe Burrow's played? Dak Prescott, B- or C+? I might go a little lower. I might say C. For Dak in the first month of the season. Warren says B, not a chance. F, not a chance. He's not playing F ball. Oh, Burrow's playing F. Yeah. So if we could be fair with Burrow, why can't you be fair with Jalen? Burrow has been an F. I completely agree, and he's the highest paid player in the game. F. Why can't you be honest with Hurts? Let's take a look at Jalen Hurts so far the first month. Let's do the positives, since you guys think that I hate on the kid. What do I like about Jalen? What do I like that Jalen's doing in the first month of the season? He's a calming force. Not everything's good. He knows it. But he's not losing his shit. He's keeping it calm. People are moaning and crying. Goddard and AJ are moaning a little publicly. You know? He's keeping it calm. And he's coming off a Super Bowl where sometimes teams struggle a little bit coming off the Super Bowl loss or Super Bowl win. Kansas City right now is kind of going through that. Look, I would say this to you. Personally, I think the Eagles are playing better than Kansas City. Playing better than Kansas City. If you were to play that game right now, I think the Eagles would beat Kansas City in Arrowhead. I do. Now, it would be a high-scoring ball game, and my problem would be your pass defense is atrocious. And you're not going to stop. Mahomes might go for 700 yards against you if you can't put him on the ground. Okay? He might throw for 700 yards. Okay? So here, let me I think he's calmed, and I think he knows what's up, and I think he's seen different things now, and he's working through it. And the most important thing is You're working through this shit and you're winning. See, the opponents that you play in that matching up of this and that, it's not really about being 4-0. How many people would say this about the Eagles? Do you think the Eagles are getting better week in and week out? Or do you think it has been a flat line? I think it's been a flat line. I actually, because the defense walked back last week, okay, against a very limited Washington team. Against a very limited Washington team. I think they've been flatlined. Football team is not playing better. You had one half of football where your passing game looked good. First half, you were down 10 to Washington. Stop blowing up a quarter to make it look like 4 games. It's not true. It's just not true. So here's the bad. They're throwing different things at him, and he's not adjusting to it right now, nor is the coordinator adjusting to it. And they've also limited his running attempts, and they've actually put handcuffs on the offense. That's why it doesn't look like last year. That's why he doesn't. There's more game film on them. They are so predictable on offense. That's why every team's been in a game. You had a coaching decision you lost that. The Washington Commanders lost that game because of a poor coaching decision at the end, not because you guys outplayed them. Is that fair? Would you agree to that? You didn't beat Washington. Washington lost that game because they made an error in a coaching decision. Right? And that's the best game that guy's played all year. Correct? No. You really think you outplayed Washington? You didn't. Where did you outplay him? Sam Howell went toe for toe with Jalen. He went toe for toe. No turnovers. 5th start against the second runner-up MVP. They outrushed you. They held that great rushing attack under 160 yards, whatever their average is. You really think you outplayed Washington? And they had more time of possession, more first downs, and you outplayed them. Again, delusional. You're the lesser team. The lesser team made a coaching error. That's how you beat them. You beat them in an overtime with an overtime field goal. So when you say the team is playing A+ and Hurts is playing B, he hasn't had a B game yet. I'll tell you what, I'll probably give him the Washington game because it's 60 minutes of ball when you put it all together. I don't know. B- would be okay for that game against Washington. I'm good with that. The first game, C-. The second game, Tampa, C. The Bucks, C+. B. We're talking about a guy that's probably playing C football right now. Okay? And why is that? It's a predictable offense because the coordinator is not as gifted as Shane Steichen was. I'm wrong about Steichen. Steichen's a good coach. He's good, man. He's doing a wonderful job with not only Gardner Minshew, but he's also doing a hell of a job without Jonathan Taylor, and he's also doing a good job with Anthony Richardson. That's been a surprise coaching job. Shane Steichen looks like a head coach in the NFL right now. I got to give it to him, man. He does. He looks like a head football coach. And I've been pleasantly surprised by how well he's been able to motivate that football team in light of the shitty owner that you have. Okay? I mean, he's done a nice job on that. Scott, you can say whatever you want. It's your opinion. I don't believe your offense right now. again, when you talk about what your offense right now is because you have really good numbers right now because of your running attack, not because your passing attack. Your passing attack is in the 20s. Where is it, Tone? Like 23? So your passing attack is 23, and you think you're doing a good job right now, right? Why can't you accept the obvious? That you're winning ball games in spite of your team flatlining across in these games. 3 of the 4 games you've played, you've allowed every team to have a chance to beat you at the end. That's all teams are trying to do. They're the inferior team. Okay? So Jalen, his first month, see, he's not playing championship football. I don't think Dak Prescott is. Actually, what quarterbacks right now are playing championship football? I'll tell you one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this too. The defenses around the NFL this year have done quite a job at defending some of these big-time quarterbacks. Lamar's look shaky. Deshaun Watson's look shaky. Trevor Lawrence's look shaky. Mahomes' look shaky. Hurts has looked shaky. Prescott shaky. All of them. You know, the only guy that has really come out of the gate throwing the ball, there's been 2. It's been Tua and the guy in Miami. Geno, okay, yeah, Geno. Hurts ranks 12th in passing and 12th in passing TDs. Okay. Sounds solid for a $51 million guy. He's playing better than some of those other guys making that bag of money. I'll tell you that. Wouldn't we agree that the defenses this year in the NFL have done a nice job on these guys? You know, of all the $50 million guys, who's playing the best? Purdy's playing spectacular. He's playing spectacular ball, 72% completion percentage, no turnovers, hasn't lost a regular season game since he's been given the starting reins. Tua's look sensational for a month. Allen's look unbeatable where his Bills are right now. 5th best offense, 6th best defense. The team looks good, man. Now, again, nobody hands out trophies in September. Hey, Tone, I went back and looked at all the big-time quarterbacks, including Hurts. So my issue is this, right, Tone? Everyone, I don't really know if this is a Jalen thing. I think these defenses have caught up with pretty much all these dudes. Give me a quarterback. We're better than the Bengals. You are. I think that Jesse Bates subtraction in Cincinnati, I think that's a bigger loss than what people want to say. Plus the injury to Burrow. That's why you're in that position at 1-3 right now. Look at the guys. Follow me here. Look at the guys that are having good years throwing the ball. You think there's a lot of game film on Brock Purdy? No. Tua, the play caller in Miami, sensational. And he's got these innovative ways of calling plays. But is there a ton of tape on Tua? Not really. All the guys who are playing well, right, Tone? Everyone. All the guys that are playing well right now, they don't really have a book on them. They got a book on Hurts. Shit, Detroit had a book on Mahomes in week 1. I thought the Jets did a great job on him. There's some shitty calls in that game, too, that could have went the other way with New York. Look at the QBs that are – look at Baker Mayfield down there. Baker Mayfield was like an afterthought. Now he's in a different system. He's got some better players around him. There's no pressure on him. And you had the Cleveland book. Well, this is a different deal. They're not asking him to throw for 400 yards. They're just asking him to be efficient on 3rd down, which he is. I think he leads the NFL. That's all they're asking him to do. And they're going to try to win football games with that defense like they did in the opener against Minnesota. C.J. Stroud looks great. That is without a doubt a great take. You know why Stroud's looking great? They don't know anything about him. They don't know anything about that guy. And you're like, holy shit, man. How do you defend him? You're not going to go back and watch him against Northwestern, Ohio State. Maybe you'll get some of his characteristics and how he drops back and how he looks around and how he moves receivers. Other than that, you're not going to build a game plan about him playing against Indiana. You got to get NFL tape on the guy, how he handles internal pressure. I think what's happened here to a lot of these $50 million quarterbacks, and especially the dual threat guys, there's nothing Lamar Jackson. Hey, you can change the offense. If you change the offense in Baltimore and Philly, you're changing the identity of your quarterback. You can't change the identity of those two quarterbacks. Well, I want, what's his name, to throw more in Baltimore. Well, why? Some go like this. Sil said we should have Jalen run less. Yeah, after what I heard Vermeil say, Vermeil's right. Why would you limit a guy? This is who he is. It's like hiring an on-air guy and telling him, I got some great ideas for your show, and he completely changes the show on you, and it doesn't sound remotely anything like your show and why you got hired. Some of you understand that. Some of you get it. You get hired because of what you did at another place. They bring you in, and all of a sudden they're asking you to do certain skill sets and different skill sets that you have no idea what you're asked to do, and you fail. Then they wonder why, and then they blame you and fire you. Well, it's him. No. You asked me to do something completely different that I've never done. I don't play like that. I don't do shows like that. You see it all the time. You can't change Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. And I think the offense, I tell you what, you got a couple things fighting against you. Do you know how your offense can turn around? Let the guy run. Let the guy run. Jalen is not a pocket passer. He's totally not a pocket passer, but he can. Jalen sets his pocket up with his legs. Does that make sense to some of you? Okay? It's funny when people say Hurts is breaking 70-year-old. What's 70-year-old records? What, Cam Newton and the running quarterbacks of the 30s? That's not football. That's rugby. Football today compared to 70 years ago, you didn't have face mask. Don't talk to me about something that you had to drive a horse to a game for. Some guy's telling me that he's breaking a record of 70. Like, we're not talking about Major League Baseball. And even Babe Ruth's records are stupid. Babe Ruth's records were against beer-drunk white guys. It's not a diverse league. You might as well have been playing in a wiffle ball league. Baseball didn't happen until 1947. And then 10 years after that, white guy records in the 30s and 40s is a joke. I call them white guy records. Great. You didn't have a diverse sport. Wait, so I want to understand you correctly. You're saying Hurts can throw from the pocket. Yeah, but his legs set up. His legs can set up those deep passes because they're so. People don't fear Jalen's arm. They fear Jalen's legs. Is that correct? But that's not what we really want to do. And the coaches are holding him back. Yes. That's why you're seeing those safe. Hey, Tone, that's why you're seeing those safety slides. You're seeing those safety slides because it's built inside of his brain right now from the coaches going, get down, get down. And you're limiting him. Look, 316, like I said, was way better. Way better. Way better. Way better. But the running sucked, except for that 3rd and 11. That 3rd and 11 was crippling. The touchdown passes to A.J. Brown, you still were in a ball game. You're in a ball game against Sam Howell. Okay? What would the game plan truly have been against Washington if you had to do it all over? What would have been the game plan? What would have been the game plan? I would have played my game. I would have got into running the ball, so that they don't get the ball back. Eventually, you're going to break them. I wonder how much confidence they really have in DeAndre Swift's health. And are they saving him? And that's why you see those bonehead substitutions with Gainwell, is because they fear two dudes being injured. Goddard is such not a factor on that offense right now because I think it's a coaching decision. I don't think it's a Jalen decision. I think it's a coaching decision. There's some sort of like power struggle or trying to he can't figure out how to get all the pieces moving in one place. That is an issue sometimes. Has Swift been, some of you will go like this, Swift has been an absolute godsend to the offense, you think, right? I actually think Swift has been actually a detriment to the offense in a way. You want me to know why? You got a first-year coordinator that's trying to figure out a new star and how to implement them. How many times in an NBA game have you seen a team, when they add a superstar, they don't know how to act the superstar because they don't know how to get the ball to them? And you have to figure out how to get all the footballs and basketballs to everybody. And that's why you see, and you look at Devontae Smith sometimes, and you're like, 6 catches, 70 yards? I guess so. Dallas Goedert, 2 catches, 4 yards. Then you got one target guy. And you're like, okay, then you got Swift. And I don't mean that Swift is a detriment talent-wise. I think he's a problem for the coordinator because the coordinator can't figure out how to get the ball in everybody's hands. Tell me you don't think that doesn't make sense. Goddard was a beast in the last game. That's what Wheel says. Jesus. I don't think Goddard has been shit I don't think he's been shit for a month. It's not because he's not good. It's because they haven't used him. Goddard should have ripped that team Washington apart last week. Okay? Tone goes like this. That's an interesting take. Totally worth discussing. Look, so get this. Doesn't it come off last year when you had Miles Sanders? It was an easy way to get him the ball. Just turn and hand it to him. Just turn and hand it to him. You weren't as predictable because nobody knew the game tape on you. Nobody knew how Jalen was going to play. And you won first. Would we not agree? The problem with the Eagle offense right now, you're not winning first down again. You're just not. You're sporadically winning first down. Like the first series against New England. What was that thing? 14 plays? You can't stop the Eagles when they look like that. That was 2022 Philadelphia Eagles. That opening drive of the year was Philadelphia Eagles football. Just with the wrong guy. And since that drive, there's been more of an effort to get Gainwell going than Goddard. Who makes that call? The coordinator? Or is it once again Siri lying? Is it Nick Siri lying? That's the guy that makes those calls? Sometimes I can't understand Nick Siri lying. Okay? I call it a curse of the gifted. They have so many game breakers. I think Brian Johnson is overwhelmed by the weapons he has. How about this? What was that thing? What's the offense totally ranked right now? In the passing game. Did you say it was 12th? So you have potentially 2 Pro Bowl receivers and a Pro Bowl tight end and maybe a Pro Bowl back, and you're not a top 10 offense? And the Rams are? You know why? McVay knows how to move the sticks and knows how to move the football around the field. You're not 5th in passing, Lord. Jesus, criminy. Okay? You're not 5th. You're 5th because of your running game. You have to be like 3rd in running. 5th in points. I'm talking passing offense. Passing offense is what's going to win you the Super Bowl, not running offense. You're not going to win. Everybody that's come on this program and says you're not going to win a Super Bowl being one-dimensional. You're just not. You're 13th in passing offense. You're 2nd in rushing. Okay, and you're in the weekend of your schedule. Your coordinator is more of the problem than Hurts. Okay? Here, why would I say that? What is the one telling trend right now that leads you to believe that it's not Hurts and it's Brian Johnson? Okay? What is the one trend that shows you it's Brian Johnson? Tone says the offensive play calling struggles. I'll tell you what it is. Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball 68% completion percentage. Okay? Why aren't those numbers higher? Why are his numbers passing-wise? They should be higher. What's the problem? You're completing almost 7 of every 10 passes. And you're trying to tell me he's struggling? Something is struggling. The situational play calling, the coaching sucks so bad right now. And I mean on offense. Between Sirianni and Brian Johnson, they're holding that team back. Hurts is not the problem. Hurts is not the problem. You know how Hurts would be the problem? Well, for a month of football, if he was at 62%, meaning that he's not accurate. Now, the turnovers, you have to go on him a little bit with that. But that's him forcing the ball. Why? Why does Jalen have more turnovers right now at this point of the season than he did a year ago? You know why? They're asking him to make higher percentage turnover plays than he did last year when he ran the ball more. That's why the INTs are up a bit. Not crippling, but they're up. And they've kept teams in games. Your coaching is so terrible right now. I mean, it's really on offense. We've been saying this. I really don't have a gigantic couch on the side because I think there's a lot of personnel decisions over there because of lack of talent. And I do think it's lack of talent in some areas. And you're how about this? The Nakobe Dean decision to put him in at linebacker so far in the first month was a colossal mistake. He got hurt. No shit. No shit. That was the scouting report on him. And you have to let these two guys gel. Did it not take TJ Edwards a little bit to get in there and start really feeling how to handle the defense? I think it did. Then it settled down. Dude, Sirianni is without a doubt what Angelo Cataldi said on this program, and I completely agree. He knows how to work the room. He's good at it. And he benefits from a really good organization. They could do without him or with him. He's the least guy in that building. that has any impact on that football team. You know what he does? He calms the locker room down, and you'll start seeing some adversity. I'll tell you what, everyone was screaming at him when you were 2-5. Well, you've won all these ball games. Now you're in love with him. Yeah, we'll see. Matt Nagy was the NFL Coach of the Year, was fired 2 years later. Look at Brian Daboll right now. Look at Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll right now, you know what they're saying about Brian Daboll? I don't know. He sure doesn't look good. So when you're a coach in Philly, you're completely replaceable. Okay? Despite being the brain on defense, the middle linebacker has to stay healthy. Dean played 30 minutes and now can't get out of the ice tub. Bro, it's exactly, we're not even, and get this, that's not even talking about his ability. We don't know. That decision was terrible. The decision not to bring back either Edwards or Kaiser White, terrible. And now it's almost like, hey, I would much rather have the Eagles say this. Do you know, Nick, here's something else about what you should be, I think, overjoyed with the Eagles and how they win games. The Eagles are beating teams that are the lesser teams. Dallas can't and will never be consistent doing that. You are. In spite of not playing, you're not playing Super Bowl football. You're playing good football against shit teams. You're expected to win. Dallas does the unexpected. They drop those games like Arizona. You know what they're saying about? They're saying because Dallas went to New England and had a better game against them than you did, that they're back. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You have an asterisk on you until you do something special this year because you got the shit kicked out of you by Arizona, who I couldn't even tell you on that team. Who's on that team? Josh Dobbs, okay. Kaiser White. So Jonathan Gannon beat the living shit out of the Cowboys, and the Cowboys go up. I don't subscribe to that. I do not. Or it was in Dallas. It was a home game, too. You were there on Brady night. Opening game. Okay? What happened to the Eagles having a tough schedule? You're not in it yet. You're not in it. I didn't rank it. Everyone else did. Okay? Scott goes, Sil's crying because Nick blocked me on Twitter. I could care less about having a relationship with the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. You have the wrong dude. I'm not looking for key fobs to get into the NovaCare Center. I could care less. I don't care. You can't be genuine and you can't tell the truth when you're looking for key fobs and wanting to eat in the commissary. I have no interest in that. I never have. Okay? So, again, your coaches, it's not how Jalen's playing. The coaches aren't letting Jalen play. And if Jalen's at a C, the coaches are below that because Jalen is winning games in spite of them. Damn. And you're going up against Raheem Morris, Matthew Stafford, and Sean McVay. Are you the better team? Yeah. Yeah. But you've been playing against better teams, and every team's had a chance to beat you at the end. Now you're going against a Super Bowl quarterback who knows how to beat you. You see the difference with Stafford? He may be injured. And I heard D. Gunn say this. If I were the Eagle front four, I would do everything in my power to rough that guy up. I would rough him up. Matt, the statue, has a Super Bowl ring. Your guy's got a silver medal. And by the way, he had to beat Brady on the way. Then he had to get into the Super Bowl and win it. Who did he beat in the Super Bowl? Who did the Rams beat in the Super Bowl? I'm just curious. Burrow. So he went through Brady and Burrow to win the Super Bowl. For Jalen to get to the Super Bowl, he went through Christian McCaffrey and Josh Daniels and Daniel Jones. And he's having a good year. His numbers don't really kind of show it in the touchdown INT. Stafford's playing, I think he's second in passing yards. He's got a pretty good group, too. And you're getting another guy back, Cup. I don't know how effective he'll be, what kind of conditioning he'll be. And the coaching is superior to you. You got a Super Bowl winning D coordinator, a Super Bowl two-time NFC champion, Super Bowl champion play calling head coach going against CPA Sirianni and Sean Desai and that thing you have as a coordinator on offense, Bob Johnson. Brian, you better have your playbook. You better, like Tone said yesterday, you better bring 2 playbooks. Because there's nothing they're not going to not. By the way, the Eagle offense, why do you think the Eagle offense is so predictable? You know why? Because the coordinator is a brand new dude. And you're limiting the quarterback and running. You're going to be limited. You're going to be predictable. You're predictable. Crossing routes, deep throws, probably 4 a game. Tight end is not a factor in the offense. You see Gainwell in the game. They want to get him going. That's the trend. When Swift is in, make sure you bring your backers up. He's not going to audible out of that because that's not what they're doing. They're not audibling out of it. They're not changing plays. It's really funny, too, when you watch Hurts do that. He doesn't really change a lot of plays in a game. You notice that? There's really not a lot of audibling. Like when you used to remember Peyton Manning, Omaha, that was the changing of the play. Or Brady, Black 80. Those are all audibles that were changing out of they don't do really any of that. So when you go to the line of scrimmage and you're a linebacker, there's not going to be a lot of the shifting of formations. It's just what it is. It's a shift in formation. He's not going to audible out of what they do when it comes to their tendencies. There's just not a lot of audibling. And what does that tell you? They've already got a predetermined idea of what they're going to do with the ball, come hell or high water. That's the predictability I'm talking about. And that comes not from the quarterback. That comes from the coordinator. Okay? That comes from the coordinator. And the inability to Brian Johnson to have like creativity in that, to give him an option when he sees, this is why Jalen's not reading the free and strong safety, man. He's getting to the line of scrimmage and reading possession. Got my Hooters gift certificate and hat. Thanks. Maniac, thank you very much for participating in that. And you remind me of that too. By the way, our great friends at Hooters, thank you so much. All you guys have to do is identify our code word like Maniac did. Got his gift certificate, got his hat. All you do is send us your information and you email us, dansileoshow@gmail.com. And on a football Monday, we will announce our winners. This is all with our great friends at Hooters, the official home of the National Football Show. We so appreciate that as well. Thank you, Maniac, for reminding me too. Okay? See, I mean, he doesn't audible enough because you know why? The coordinator is limited. And some would go, how do you know he's limited? Because Goddard's a non-factor. Here, and Bruce Arians told me this. There's our winners from this week right here too. Thank you, Nick and Israel. So when Brady comes to the line of scrimmage, Brady will be looking at the free and strong safety. Brady's got kind of an idea where he wants to go with the ball when he just sees the formation. So when he comes and he sees the formation, he watches a linebacker line up over Gronk. This is why Gronk was such an amazing football player, and he was so quick to absorb the intel of the moment. And those guys were situationally just built-in coaches on the field. Brady would see a guy, and all of a sudden he'd come to the line of scrimmage, and as soon as, right before the pre-snap, you'd see that backer move off. And you know what Brady had told him? Hey, if you have a guy on your nose, just block. If you don't have a guy, block release. And sure enough, it was up to Brady to sit there and watch that. Brady had an idea where he was going with it because of his head and the way he moved the safeties over, sliding them over. The linebacker goes over, block release, right down the seam. That's what made that shit tough. The Eagles do none of that. Now, it's not who Hurts is. Okay? It's not who Hurts is. Your coaches are not doing the first month of the season, players, they're doing the best they can in winning. Good for them. Players are finding ways to win. Guys are stepping up like Swift and Jalen Carter and Reed Blanken. Here are the guys that have really, in the first month, have been a real good, pleasant surprise. Reed Blankenship. Zach Cunningham. Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, AJ, Swift. Those guys have been pleasant surprises. Pleasant surprises. Okay? Dude, Fletcher Cox looks like a man who wants to come back and play another year in Philly. He looks like he wants to play another year. Or he's out petitioning himself for an opportunity to get another gig. Morrow, for a guy that was cut by the Eagles, and the Eagles didn't think much of him, and they hired him back because of necessity, he's increased his value as a player in the league again, where teams are going to go like this. If the Eagles don't want him, we'll take him. I would take him. I totally would take him. Yeah, I think the whole triangle with I tell you, the disasters have been Cam Jurgens has been awful. Nobody on offense has been awful but him. It's just been kind of okay. Just kind of okay. I think AJ has gotten better each week. Devontae is a steady heartbeat. And it's trending like this always would. Dude, good for him. Wrong about him. From day one, his trajectory has gone like this. He's never had this. He's never been that guy. He has just been like this. Hey, you know what, though, Hollywood? AJ wants to be a crybaby and get me 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. He can cry all day with a pacifier in his mouth all day he wants. I'm good with that. You're producing and you're moaning. I don't care. You're moaning and you suck. I have no place for you. I have no place for you. Your right guard position has been you have absolute. Wait, your upgrade. Have you upgraded to from Swift to Miles Sanders? And here, let's take a look at that. Have the Eagles upgraded Miles Sanders when you throw Swift's name? Yeah, because he doesn't run the contact. And look what Swift's doing with that Swiss cheese O-line down in Carolina. So he was a product of that line. Remember something. The offensive line in Detroit is probably third ranked That's a good group up there with Ragnow and Penei Sewell. That's a good group up there. That's a good-looking offensive line. Them, the Ravens, the Browns, the Eagles, the Niners, they're all in that group. They're all in the group. So Swift, to me, is better in traffic when he runs. He's a better back. He's a better back. Okay? He is. He's a better back. That's an upgrade. The Sayamalo you have not replaced. You have not replaced Kaiser White. Have you replaced Javon Hargrave? Now, let me put the money into this. $20 million. Hargrave's got 3 sacks. And he's a wrecking ball right now with them. He's a wrecking ball next to Armstead and with Bosa. That's a pretty good D-line they got up there. That's a good-looking defense. We're going to get to that here at the top of the hour. Okay? Has he been an upgrade? Let's see what you guys say to this one. Has Jalen Carter been an upgrade to Javon Hargrave? Do you think he's been an upgrade? Devin says yes. Yes. Wash? No way. Here's why it's been a tremendous upgrade. He's impacting the play of Jordan Davis. Javon Hargrave did not. They had to go out. He was injured. I get it. They had to go out and get 2 extra dudes. And bringing in Sue and Linval Joseph, Maya stunted his advancement and his growth a year ago. But because, get this, that group is, I like this group better than last year. And they're better against the run. You've got 700 pounds of defensive tackle in the middle in there. And I think they're doing it. Hey, Tone, does Fletcher start? Does Fletcher start? Fletcher's got to be 325. So you got 325, 330, 345 in the middle in there. And you got in 3 guys almost $1,000 in tonnage. And Milton Williams has played great. Fletcher does start. Also, Hargrave may have a few more sacks, but I think Carter has been an upgrade. And here's why. The running game, Jordan Davis is benefiting, and Carter's cheaper. Absolutely true. The whole thing. You saved $19 million in that whole entire move. And watch this. You saved $19 million in that move, and you have a player for the next 10-plus years. I mean, Hargrave, he has $65 million guaranteed. That goes against a cap. What are you going to pay Purdy? I mean, eventually you're going to have to pay a quarterback in San Francisco. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay the guy, especially if he wins. If Brock Purdy wins a Super Bowl making $937,000, Brock Purdy will make $60 million. It's not Kyle Shanahan. Okay? It's not just Kyle Shanahan. You got to have a signal caller. You can. These quarterbacks today are their own unique systems. How many times do you try to see a guy try to play Jalen Hurts as RPO? They tried to do that with Gardner Minshew, and it was an absolute train wreck. Have you replaced Kaiser White and TJ Edwards? No. But then again, those guys weren't anything to write home about when it came to covering linebackers or anybody. But how about this? I know Gardner Johnson's hurt, but you had to move Bradbury from corner to slot. Tells you all you need to know. They wanted a more athletic guy in the slot. That's how they're looking at that. They're not looking for size. They're looking for athleticism. and a guy playing center field to kind of keep everything in front of him. That is not a physical secondary, except for Reed Blankenship. The rest of them are trying to play everything underneath. That's why your pass defense is atrocious. However, you're keeping everything. What is the one big thing that the Eagle defense has not done still, and it's going on year 2? They really haven't given up the plus 25 play. Okay? They have not given up. They would rather defend the plus 25 play, make these inexperienced, not as talented quarterbacks have to drive the field. I think that makes sense. I totally think that hey, wouldn't you rather do this? I don't want Josh Allen having the ability to drive the ball down the field on me because he's going to complete at will 80%. Josh Allen's going to complete 80% of his passes against you. And I would say this to you, Matthew Stafford. Stafford will have 75% completion percentage on Sunday. That's a given. That's a given. Shit, the guy Sam Howell almost had that. Yeah. The Eagle defense plays prevent defense on 1st and 10. That's exactly correct. I mean, well, so wait a minute here. Prince, Mac Jones threw for 316 on you. Stafford had 354, 4 touchdowns and no picks on you. You did a nice job in Mayfield. Sam Howell had 290 and 68% completion percentage. You think any one of those quarterbacks are better than Matthew Stafford? What kind of metrics am I on? Your trends. Your trends. Oh, okay, Patrick. Okay. Plus, this is the best wide receiving core you're going to play. I thought Tampa's was good. Godwin and Mike Evans. Oh, yeah. Matthew Stafford, like Tone said, be the best quarterback they've played so far. Matthew Stafford will be the best quarterback you've played since the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget something about this Rams team. Rams went in. Did they go into Seattle and win? Or did they win that game at SoHi? Okay. Oh, LJ, I was shocked he didn't have more than 80 yards, was it? I was shocked. Yeah. Because your pass defense, look where it ranks. Where's your pass defense rank right now? 26th? But LJ would try to tell you that you're good back there. You're good. Oh, Rams went up to Seattle. Interesting. Interesting. Hey, there was a comment made about you indirectly about your Eagle team. We're going to hit on that here at the top. All right. Appreciate everybody here, man. Thank you so much. Our great friends at Hooters, man. 40th anniversary. The iconic Hooter girls. We are the proud home right there of Hooters. And Hooters is the official home of the National Football Show. All 7 locations in the Northeast area. Go to northeasthooters.com to find one of the locations nearest you for you to go in and experience what I've been talking about now for over 40 years. Now, look, if you want to order off the great menu and you don't want to go in, HootersToGo.com. Wonderful app. Iconic Hooter girls will bring the food out to your car. You can take it back to your crib. Have an absolutely great time. Tuesday, some of our great specials and anniversary specials. You buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983. Happy hours are off the charts. $6, 6 items. Fried pickles, try them. Go to northeasthooters.com. That's northeasthooters.com. Hour number 2. My guy Tone's going to join me at 3:30. Jason Cole at 4:30. Our NFL Insider will also join us. More with you. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect